be more than human. Hello and welcome back to the channel, all my fellow more than humans. My name is Joseph Carroll. I write under the pen name J.R. Carroll. And today I have a, what do the kids on the street call them? A incoming rant. Now, I don't do a lot of rant videos. At least I don't think I do. But I have been, I watch BookTube and AuthorTube from time to time, and I stumbled back upon the Trope videos. And it just, I don't know, one of the things just set something off my brain, and I just started thinking about tropes and thinking about books lately, newer books and movies and all the stuff that's been going on. And so I thought, you know what, I gotta make a little video about this and just kind of lay some stuff out and see if I'm not the only one who thinks like this. So before we just dive into this, hey, can you hit that like button and drop in a comment about what you think about these tropes and about what's going on. It really helps out. And check out my Patreon if you want to help out the books channel and even yourself. So give that Patreon a look-see. It's in the comments. And here we go. All right. So there's been a ton of videos out there about what's the best tropes, what are the worst tropes. But the big thing that I've been thinking about is subverting tropes. And it's like top 10 tropes that you should subvert, or try to subvert these tropes. And it's like, oh, played out tropes and stuff. And the issue I have is tropes are a trope because they're a good idea. Say it with me.
Tropes are good.
Like, people kind of, you conflate tropes with cliches. And to me, a trope is a good idea that most people like. A cliche is when you use a trope in a bad way. When you write, it's basically good idea executed poorly or executed obviously. It doesn't mean, because something's a cliche, doesn't mean that the trope is bad. And so what a lot of people have been doing is like, okay, let's just start subverting tropes. And subverting a trope in it of itself is not a bad thing. But the problem comes in when you get, some authors who want to subvert every trope in one book. They're like, oh, well, I want to do this and I'm going to subvert this trope because I don't like it. Or this trope's toxic, so I'm going to take all the tropes that I think are bad and I'm going to subvert them all in one book. And it's like, okay, so basically what I said at the beginning is tropes are a thing because people like them. So if through your whole book you just start taking all the ideas that people have liked over the years and you subvert all of them, you're going to come up with a book that a lot of people aren't going to like, because you just like, basically you're crapping on all of their ideas that they like to see. So that, I find that's a big thing in a lot of books where they're like, we're just subverting all the tropes at once, instead of pick a couple and subvert them well, and people will be like, oh, that's cool, that's cool that they subverted this trope, and instead of subverting every trope, and you're just like, okay. But one big one And a lot of people, there have been some books that I'll do book review on, and in my comment section, people will be like, "Well, this book was kind of boring," and that comes to a trope that people are subverting a lot more recently, and that is too much action in a fantasy book. The trope is there's so much action in these fantasy books now. So now you have this wave of, well, I'm going to create a traditional style fantasy book, but very little action within it. It's going to be heavily story driven. And, you have a cool cover or something, and the cover and the name of the book would lend you to think that there's going to be a lot of action in the book, and then there's just not. And people are all disappointed. They're like, I was expecting this was going to be a really high-paced, fun, action-filled book, and there was no action in it. And people will be like, well, I was just trying to not just have my book filled with action. It's weird. It seems like you have a small minority that complain about a certain thing a lot, and then authors and publishers are like, well, we can't do that. And then it's like, and then they overdo the subversion of the trope. And that's a big one. It's like, people like action in their books. And it's okay to do that. It's okay to have a lot of action in your book. Just put good story in too. It's not a reason you can't have both. Jim Butcher Dresden Files. Anytime I can drop that in there. And then another trope is the slow burn, the slow build of a character. Not necessarily progression fantasy, but how the character really has to work for his thing, work for his or her power climb. And a subversion that seems to be popping up a little bit more recently is the OP from the beginning character. And I'm just like, to me, tell me in the comments, am I wrong? That seems like a terrible idea, to have an OP character from the very beginning and they can just beat everybody so quickly. And then when you show that they're OP from the beginning, and especially if it's not a really long book, and then you're having them fight people at the end, and then you try to make it you've never showed that the bad guy is that powerful, but that somehow at the end he or she is having a hard time at the end of the book. It just it doesn't make any sense. You're just like, okay, you painted yourself into a corner because you wanted your character to start OP at the beginning, but now it doesn't make sense that they're having a hard time with this character that didn't earn this. The villain didn't earn how strong you're trying to make them seem now. That's a trope I hope goes away real quick, is the OP from the beginning character. And then this one I'm on the fence about, is the people started, and this is something that's been going on for a longer than some of these other ones, is the people supposedly got tired of the good and evil. Like, we know this guy's a good guy, we know that guy's a bad guy, or good woman, female character, bad female, and so people started making morally gray characters, which is fine. I love me a good morally gray character. I myself write morally gray characters, but it only has its effectiveness if just a couple of them are morally gray. if you have one or two or whatever, or if you have a ton of characters, then you can throw a couple more in there. But really, it's like one or two morally gray characters that are around these wholly good, wholly evil characters. It makes things more interesting. But a lot of recent times, it's been like, okay, I'm gonna make every character in my book morally gray, and it's like, well, then you just made everybody the same. It's like, now you're losing that interesting bits about the one or two characters because everybody's like that. And it also makes it harder for people to follow what's going on when everybody is morally gray and you're having to track all their movements because who knows if they're the good guy, the bad guy, or should I not like them? Should I really like them? If that's every single character. Now, I may make some more trope videos, my own version of the good and bad trope videos in the future. Let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. Let me know if you agree or let me know if you disagree with my views on these specific tropes. And so I can't wait to hear what you guys think. And remember, be more than human.